On your mark, get set, grow with Mark Moses, an inspiring and passionate keynote speaker who will stimulate your audience with his lessons learned in building his company and coaching other fast-track CEOs. Over 5,000 CEOs and business leaders from over 80 countries have benefited from his rich and audience interactive programs, and in the process made him a sought-after presenter. A highly successful serial entrepreneur, Mark started his first business at age 19. He successfully built 2 firms from scratch and sold them. Along the way, Ernst & Young named Mark the Entrepreneur of the Year, and his firm became the fastest growing company in Los Angeles, rising to number 10 on the Inc. 500 list, achieving a 10,000% growth rate in just 5 years. His last company employed 550 people and generated $1.6 billion in annual volume. How did Mark Moses do it? Well, 3 ways. First, by thinking big. We're talking elephant big here. Second, by establishing a corporate culture where his people loved coming to work. How? By creating a fun environment with a focus on team success and providing outrageous financial incentives and perks along the way. And third, by overcoming challenges like a corporate fire, a Wall Street funding collapse, and even the life-threatening medical condition of his son Mason. An entrepreneurial success story, a respected business coach to CEOs on the fast track, a community fundraiser for a children's hospital, and a world-class athlete whose accomplishments include winning the U.S. National Squash Championship and participating in 5 Ironman events, including the legendary Hawaii World Championship twice. When this man speaks or coaches, CEOs and companies take note. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome your keynote speaker, Mark Moses.
Thanks, guys. Imagine making $1 million a month, 275 people in your call center, Wall Street pulls out of the business immediately, and you start losing $1 million a month. What do you do? Imagine your best man is running a division of your company and leaves, takes 85% of your people with him, and sets up a competing company 2 blocks away. Imagine it's April Fool's Day. You have a whole bunch of computers, obviously, in your call center, and you show up that morning, and they're all gone, and it's no April Fool's joke. What do? Imagine your building catching fire. City inspector says 60 days. What do? Imagine your son having a brain tumor, and the next day has emergency brain surgery. What do? What I'm going to share with you are the 25 tips that I learned in dealing with turbulent times. With number 1, I found during these tough times, communicating regularly with your team was absolutely critical. The more often, the better. It made such a dramatic difference that they knew exactly what was going on and heard it from me rather than the rumors in the company. Number 2, take time to step away from your business and think about where it is that you're going. What are the 3 big things that I got to do this year to propel my business forward? I learned in that call center experience when Wall Street and I had 275 people and they pulled out, I laid off 240 people immediately over the weekend. I learned that when you need to cut early and cut deep. If you need to cut the arm off, don't take 1 finger at a time. I learned to stay close to your key relationships. Think about the key relationships that you have that are the most meaningful to your business. Who are they? Are you close with them? Is your top salesperson the closest with your best customer that maybe makes up 35% of your business that could walk tomorrow with that top salesperson? How about your banker? Who owns that relationship? You or the CFO? How often are you communicating with them?
Oh, Mark was awesome and dynamic. It was a great session, probably one of the best this weekend. Really good content, really good form, really good setup. We just had a great time in there.
He just has this pragmatism. He has this kind of been there, done that, doesn't need to be flashy because he's the real deal.
I find Mark to be very dynamic, very direct. He gives you specific points that you can actually relate to your everyday business, and he also can customize it to whatever issue that you have in terms of customization and direction.
I learned during the toughest of times that cash is not cash until it's cash. I learned to trim the fat during turbulent times in my organization. List every expense from top to bottom. Biggest expense first, and go through each and every one of them, figuring out where it is that I could cut to drive the profitability of my firm during the hardest of times. I learned to incentivize my team to do more with less. When I went to my team and said, hey, look, gang, we need to cut money out of the organization. We need to do it now. They came back to me with a very meager attempt. I said, look, I'll give you 10% of everything that you cut. They cut $2 million immediately. I learned to use technology to drive my costs down during turbulent times. I learned to negotiate better pricing with my vendors. Who are yours? How can you negotiate better pricing with yours? And if you can't get a better price, how about better terms? I learned, as many of you, to measure everything. The more that I measured, the more effective that we could be. Whether it was our time in operation, our turn times, measuring all the results of our salespeople, ranking them from top to bottom, made a huge impact.
He's got a nice energy about him, and he's a guy that's obviously been there and done that, and he's seen a lot of things, so I've got a lot of good takeaway value from listening to him and his experiences.
はい、こんにちは。すごくいい話だったので、追加のセッションを聞きに来ました。この後楽しみです。
I think he's a really dynamic speaker. He has a great message. He's very articulate, yet powerful in his delivery. And he captures you, he keeps you close. And as I said, he's got such a great story to tell that when he weaves that story into his message, it becomes very clear, very tangible, and he also keeps it real so that you feel like it's something that you could do yourself. He's not such a superstar that you think to yourself, I could never be Mark Moses. As a matter of fact, I'm always saying to myself, I want to be just like Mark.